friends, today we are going to discuss about one of the American literature of 19th century, Scarlet Letter. Scarlet Letter is the first work of fiction published in 1850 by Nathaniel Hawthorne. It is the first major work of fiction in 19th century American literature in which the main protagonist is a female. Nathaniel Hawthorne was an American novelist and short story writer of 19th century. He lived in New England, which was the oldest settlement in America. The Scarlet Letter is a work in which the writer has described about the life of early European settlers in a period of colonial America which was known as New England. People in New England were Puritans and Protestants who had been persecuted by the Anglican Church of England. The early Puritan settlers in New England considered themselves as God's chosen people whose mission was to set up a utopia in New World. Nathaniel Hawthorne was born in a family of Puritans, but he was very critical of the persecution of heretics and dissenters. Apart from the Scarlet Letter, he wrote many more short stories and novels. His novels include The House of Seven Gables, Blithedale Romance, The Life of Franklin Pierce, The Marble Fawn, etc. The novel Scarlet Letter is set in Puritan Massachusetts during the year 1642 to 1649. It is a historical romance fiction. Its theme is based on legalism, sin, and guilt in Puritan American society. Narrative in the Scarlet Letter is very complicated. It consists both action and commentary. The commentary is through a narrator who starts the introduction and examines the past from the point of view of a 19th century observer. The full title of the book is The Scarlet Letter, a Romance. Hawthorne defines romance in the preface of the book. Somewhere between the real world and fairyland, where the actual and the imaginary may meet, and each imbue itself with the nature of the other. Thus, Hawthorne mixes both actual and imaginary together to make it a romance novel. The story begins in 17th century Boston, which was a Puritan settlement. A young woman, Hester, with her infant of 3 months, Pearl, is led from the prison and she approaches to the scaffold for punishment. She needed to stand on scaffold for 3 hours in punishment of public humiliation and shame. She also needs to wear scarlet letter A on her dress, which was the symbol of adulteress. She was punished for adultery. She gave birth to a baby and refused to disclose the father's name. Hester's husband was a doctor who sent her ahead to America, but he could not arrive at Boston. People presume that he has been lost at sea. Here in New England, Hester waited for her husband. She apparently had an affair as she gave birth to a child. When she was standing on scaffold for punishment in front of the crowd, she saw an elderly strange man and recognized him as her long lost husband, who was presumed as lost at sea. He changed his name, Roger Chillingworth. When he heard about her wife's story of adultery, he kept his identity secret and settled in Boston to take revenge from her lover. He wanted him also to get the punishment for his adulterous act. After the release from prison, Hester settled in a cottage in the outskirts of the town where she earned her living by needlework and does charity. Her daughter grew older. She had no friend to play with. Her behavior changed. She became unstable and unmanageable. Due to Paul's behavior, church members suggest Paul to be taken away from Hester. When Hester came to know about this, she went to meet the governor, Wellingham. He had two ministers, Wilson and Dimsdale. She appealed to Dimsdale and he convinced the governor to let Paul remain in Hester's care. Dimsdale fell ill. He was suffering from mysterious heart trouble. Chillingworth begins to suspect that minister's illness is due to some unconfessed guilt. He also suspects the connection between minister's illness and Hester's secret. One day, when Dimsdale was sleeping, Chillingworth sees the symbol A on his chest, which confirms his suspect. Due to his increasing suffering of the guilt, one night Dimsdale goes to the scaffold and he admits his guilt in private. He cannot find courage to do so in the light of the day publicly, as he was afraid of public humiliation and private shame. Hester was shocked by the miserable condition of Dimsdale. Later, Hester meets Dimsdale in the forest and tells him about his husband's desire to take revenge from him. She also suggests and convinces him to leave Boston and to settle in Europe secretly, where they can start a new life. Dimsdale seems happy and relieved with this plan. Hester removed her scarlet letter from her dress, but Hester refuses to acknowledge her and replaces her symbol of shame back on her dress. After returning back from jungle, he changes his plan. He knows that he is dying. Dimsdale delivers his sermon, and after that, he left the church. He sees Hester and Pearl standing on the scaffold. He also climbs on the scaffold with his lover and daughter and confesses publicly. He also exposed a scarlet letter A on his chest. Pearl kisses him. He died in Hester's arm. Chillingworth now has no mission to take revenge. He also died after some time. Hester and Pearl left Boston. Many years later, Hester returned alone, still wearing the scarlet letter. She lived in her same old cottage. Pearl was married to a European aristocrat and had her own family. She used to send letters to her mother. When Hester died, she was buried next to Dimsdale. They shared a single tombstone with the letter A. The story started with the Hester's bold confession of her sin at the beginning of the tale and with the priest's confession and acceptance of Hester and Pearl towards the end. The story of Hester and Dimsdale reminded us the story of Adam and Eve, as in both the cases, sin results in expulsion and suffering. But suffering also gives wisdom. Hester and Dimsdale both achieve wisdom through their sufferings. Hester becomes respectable and loved for her good deeds and charity. Dimsdale also learns that he cannot live life with a lie and confesses in front of public for his sins. For more book reviews, subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching.